We're live.
Okay. I'm checking the little delay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Social Chefs, episode 117. Playing with the new setup here with V Live TV. I'm Nick Rishwain here with co-host and the founder of Social Chefs and Social Chatter, Christian Karasevich. And
hey guys.
we got some news for you tonight, and a lot of interesting items that you shared, Christian. I think you did a good job of milling it down to 6 or 7 items, 5 or 6 items. And I think they're all really good items tonight. Nothing overly complex, but a couple of them I thought were pretty sharp.
Yeah, there a lot of things tonight are business related. Actually, I would say there's a lot of updates that happened this week, and it's so interesting. I mean, there's always a flurry of activity. Sometimes it happens, like on say a Monday or a Tuesday. But this week, I think that a lot of the updates. I mean, yesterday I literally was writing up the blog recap. You and I were talking about some of the topics, and then all of a sudden, Snapchat, for instance, announced some new stuff as well. I mean, and I was like, well, hey, we got to include that because that's important. And it's important from a business perspective. So a lot of really good updates tonight. But you know what? I'm really excited about bringing on tonight's guest.
I am too, because I was not on the show last time that Keri was with us. So
who do we have on in? So we got Keri Jaehnig. Keri is from Idea Girl Media. I know Keri from quite a few online conferences. We also met in person. I think I mentioned this last night during our Facebook Live at Social Media Week Lima, quite a few times there as well. But let's bring Keri on. Keri's an awesome individual. She's extremely knowledgeable. We like to bring the right people on, people that can share knowledge, that give you great, advice as well. So Keri, welcome. Great to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Great to be here. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Very happy to have you on. I was just mentioning to we got quite a few people watching tonight. So thank you, Nicole, Nats, Mo, Bernard, Barb. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you all being here. And I was just telling them all, Keri, that I was when Christian started posting about our returning guest, and I was going, returning guest, I don't remember this guest, and I guess it was a night that I could not make it, and so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that I get to meet you, digital eyeball to digital eyeball.
Yeah, great to finally meet you as well, Nick.
Yeah, so a little bit about Keri for those who were like me, not here for the last show that she was on. She is known as the Idea Girl, which I really like. But let me tell you a little bit about this background here. This is really cool. My background your background includes, I'm reading from her bio, includes more than 14 years in international education, connecting people globally and nurturing long-lasting relationships. During that time, she was designated by the U.S. Department of State for specific program work with future leaders for both Flex and YES programs, working with scholarship students from both Eurasia and mainly Muslim countries. It was her pleasure, she says, to train with a former U.S. ambassador and an imam that consulted on the Hill for President George W. Bush's administration. These positioned her well for work with regulated industries, and it's funny you should bring that up. A couple of 3 or 4 of our attendees or our friends who are watching tonight are in a heavily regulated area in the law. So
cool.
You have some experience with that, but I loved that part of you. You really have a wide variety. You've also worked on some political campaigns, doing social media and email marketing for political campaigns. So you've had quite the robust experience in marketing.
Some zest, yeah. Hey, Cheval, how are you? Long time no see. Yeah. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction, Nick. I would just want to add, this may be appealing to Christian. The ambassador that I trained with was from Jordan, so that I think maybe we even talked about that a little bit when we met in person. But yeah, I spent a lot of time doing some really interesting work. It was something new and exciting every day. But now I get to do things new and exciting every day online and with social networks and platforms and like something new every day, literally, because we're going to talk about those things in the news. So.
Yes, and shall we jump right into our topics tonight?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. So where do you want to start, dude?
I started from the top of the list that you sent us, which is the Snapchat lenses.
Okay. Let's talk about those.
Introducing the Lens Studio, and I'm going to go ahead and post that in the Facebook feed for anybody who's interested. This is topic 1. So Snapchat, and this came out today, the Lens Studio. They were announcing the Lens Studio, a new way for anyone to create lenses for the Snapchat community. Lens Studio is a free desktop app for Mac and Windows with easy-to-use guides and tools that students, creatives, and developers alike can use to bring their creations to life. Whether you're just starting to dabble in 2D animation or are a professional artist interested in creating your own experiences, Lens Studio makes sharing your creation with the world fast and fun. They've got a little video on this. And then I should add, once your lens is complete, you'll be given a special Snap code that you can share anywhere, which anyone can scan to unlock your lens. So that makes it kind of fun and kind of gamifies the experience, right? If you share that and, hey, you want to unlock a new lens, or if you're a business and you've created a lens, maybe you have your own little mascot that you've created, then you can share around that code. With the launch of Lens Studio, they're excited to make lenses more accessible to creators and experiences within Snapchat more personal and diverse. So I like this. I think this is a great idea. And it really allows people to expand the use of the lenses in Snapchat and some of the augmented reality aspects of Snapchat. The video that they have shows somebody who had created a little elephant that somebody else could then go and snap the code and play with the elephant, set it on a table, set it, on a car, and make it move around and jump. And so I really enjoy this. I think this is creative, and I think this is a great way to bring creative folks into the Snapchat community. So I think it's a smart move by Snapchat. Keri, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not a really active person on Snapchat, but I do every day. My daughter and I exchange like the Flick the Snap just to kind of communicate together. So it's all a private message. But what I liked about this is that it allows a business, if they're on Snapchat, to kind of brand the experience for their users and in a fun way. So I think that the Snap code is interesting. I think that sometimes, if you're still trying to figure out the app, it might be difficult at first, but it's as you saw in the video, it's just a couple clicks and you're done, and then you go in and you use it. I think it's fun. Does it change my life or my world? No, but it's fun. It's fun.
I think it's fun and creative.
Yeah. What do you think, Christian?
So I want to actually share a couple of things. I want to actually share the Lens Studio, the video here, but I also I actually have the Lens Studio app open, and I think that this is a good move by Snapchat, but I want to show you guys this first before I kind of go into this. So let me pull up a couple of things. I'm going to pull up the Snapchat video that Nick was talking about, and then we'll jump into the interface real quick here. So you guys should be seeing the Snapchat Lens Studio video. Is that live for everybody?
I'm looking on Facebook. I don't see anything.
And I have the lobby open and I don't see it either. Are you doing it through screen share or just in
Yeah, I'm doing the screen share feature. Yeah. Let me see.
Okay.
I thought this was a stubborn feature last week. What are your thoughts on it, Christian? Maybe I don't want to lose too much steam here.
I think overall, I think that this is a very useful feature I think it could be useful for businesses, but here's the thing, like when it launched last night, I was out and I started thinking, I was like, how could this be useful for businesses? And I was trying to think, I was like, hey, at Social Chefs, like what would I use this for? Like, would I create, a virtual character that somebody could drop into a scene. I'm not so sure I would necessarily do that because, if I'm an online business, it makes it like it's useful if I'm out and about for things. But because people don't have a way to scan a code, for instance, if I'm an online business necessarily, I don't really see that being, very applicable there. But where I could see this being useful is creating something. And if you have a product that you ship out, associating it back to a product, maybe to let people unlock this. This actually goes back to what we talked about last week, which was the Coach limited edition snap codes that people could scan on a physical product. That's where that I think unlocked a game, and I think a custom, like you could possibly unlock a lens.
Right.
Well, this now lets you unlock a lens, and if I'm an online business, this could be useful in that sense. I do want to mention, like there are a lot of different types of objects you can create. Like you can create static objects. They've got animated objects, interactive ones that can look around. So like maybe you do something like that and give somebody maybe a look in your business. They've got a cutout option. They've got picture frames, interactive approaches. Like these are all options in the Lens Studio application. So I think from that sense, it could be very useful. I think you're going to have to get creative as a business if you want to use this. Yeah. I think it's fun, as Keri mentioned as well. But I think if you really want to make this applicable to businesses, you're going to have to definitely think long and hard about like what you're going to use this for.
Right.
If I were a business, well, I am a business, so I would want to take that lens from Snapchat and also use it elsewhere. So I might put it on Twitter or keep it in my Facebook, or even like in a print material, like put that lens in something so that it's consistent branding across the board. I haven't really played around with it too much because I just got the notice today. But if there's cutouts and you could even implement a logo or a piece of your logo, or like I have a coffee that's part of my logo, that would be pretty awesome. And then it sort of just keeps you consistent across the board.
Yeah. I think for creatives, this is going to be very good. I think this will be very cool for the artistic community and creative community. And what a great way to be able to showcase some of their art, right? In creating a lens and sharing out the snap code. So our next story up for this evening is new LinkedIn notifications on trending skills. So this came out, actually, this was last week, comes from LinkedIn's news. Staying on top of emerging skills and highlighting your strengths is important to connecting to new opportunities, regardless of what industry you work in. To give you more insight into in-demand skills, we've launched new monthly notification that shares relevant trending skills among people with your same job title. If you already have this skill, consider adding it to your LinkedIn profile. Skills are one of the top ways that recruiters search for candidates on LinkedIn. We found a trending skill. This is sort of the image that it says that will show up in your notifications. We found a trending skill in common among people with your job title, machine learning being this new skill. So click courses. So I think it's interesting. I think this is a great idea. I also think that it's funny that they chose machine learning as the skill, because right now not a lot of people have any skills in machine learning, but it's something people are going to have to learn a lot about in the near future. Keri, what are your thoughts on this?
In the lobby, it says I'm in the, there we go. I'm here, I'm back. Okay, hello. I actually received a notice for this before I got the news about this, and I saw this notification and I'm like, yeah, okay, great. I didn't really know what to think about it, and I don't think it was that relevant of a skill, so I wasn't really impressed. So then when I learned the news and I saw what they were doing, I think it's very useful because if you're thinking, okay, I love what I'm doing, but I might love what I'm doing over there even more. So if you're looking to venture out or to go to a new opportunity, this helps you understand what you need to know, what you don't know, what you could know. And it also tells you what your peers are doing as well. I think that that's a useful thing. And I will also share that I haven't always been in love with LinkedIn. for a while, it was like they took 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And I wasn't a fan. In fact, I wasn't really active there for a long time. And now I'm starting to build up. And it's like, okay, that's useful for me. Now, if you bring back questions and answers, I would love that. But this is okay. I like it.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. And I got to say that I was for a long time not real active on LinkedIn because it was, but I think it was so messy to even look at. The interface was so terrible. But I think we've seen a lot of changes from LinkedIn in the last 12 months that have been positive. Christian, what are your thoughts?
So I think overall, like, there's a couple of things that you really need to pay attention to with this new feature. Like, yes, you're going to get more notifications, but I think that it helps you, it helps you learn, like, what skills do I need to brush up on? Are there skills that, my peers, for instance, or people in the same industry, because it bases it off of your job title. Are there things that skills that I don't have that I might want to brush up on? For instance, Snapchat Lens Studio, that might be a feature that, that might be a trending skill, who knows, in the next couple of months. So I think in that sense, that's really like useful. But I think at the same time, this also does a couple of other things. I think it helps you. One, it gets you back on LinkedIn. So as Keri mentioned, not necessarily using it for a while, this should get you back on there. Because, hey, if I'm getting a notification and LinkedIn saying, hey, these are some skills that have happened, and maybe you end up with this really long list, who knows?
Right.
That I think it could be very useful for. But the other thing it's also doing is it's encouraging you to update your profile. So, that's a trend we're also seeing across Facebook. Facebook's encouraging the same thing with their new questions feature that they've added to profiles. But I think at the same time, this is also getting you back into using LinkedIn Learning as well. That's LinkedIn's education platform. So if you don't have the skill, for instance, in the case of machine learning, they want you to go take a course at LinkedIn Learning, which makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I thought that was interesting. It seemed like that was the actual end goal of this. Although certainly keeping your resume, your online resume up to date is big. Our next story, and we're blowing through them tonight, and that's good because we got a couple of tools at the end here. This next item, Christian, was really more of you noticed this on the Social Chef's page when you logged in. If you can put, this was the mark a conversation as paid. This is a new Facebook page feature. Now you can easily track all your sales over inbox and view sales summary from pages insights. So, Christian, you've done a lot more selling on Facebook than I have. Tell me what this is saying.
So basically what this is doing, and I'm gonna drop a link in here for everybody real quick here so they can.
While you're doing that, Mitch Jackson, I think it is, and I think we're connected on LinkedIn actually. He's sitting outside in a jacuzzi, I think is what he said. So I'm not in my jacuzzi, but that's really awesome for you.
Yes, and we should also add, and Mitch wants us to just reset the top. Do you want me to start the show over, Mitch? Would that be helpful for you since you're in the jacuzzi? We also want to thank Ty and Mitch, and Alexis has joined. AJ Richmond is here. So Jeremy Winter was here earlier. So we got Guy DiMartino, Jim Hacking. So we got a lot of great people watching tonight. Thank you all for joining.
Mia, hey.
And Mia as well. Thank you very much.
Previous guest, right? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, previous guests. Yeah, several previous guests watching and interacting tonight. So tell me, Christian, how this works exactly. The paid thing, this paid thing. I like anything that allows me to say, yeah, this sale is complete, it's done. But what is this telling me? Because I don't do any selling on Facebook as far as items.
Okay, well, so what this is basically doing is it's letting me inside of Facebook Messenger on my Facebook page to be able to mark a conversation as paid. So, for example, if let's say I'm working with a client and I've invoiced them, this will now let me, keep notes on that customer essentially in Facebook, in my Facebook page, by marking them, as a paid conversation, as a paid transaction. But what's also great about this is Facebook is pushing into doing some reporting, because when you do mark somebody as, as paid here, you're going to also then be able to see a sales summary in your Facebook page insights. So this way you're not going to have to, and this is basically Facebook's, push into, competing with PayPal, competing with Square, all those other online payment platforms. If you use FreshBooks, any of those kind of accounting softwares, this is, again, this is a push by Facebook to keep you in their ecosystem. And they're trying to actually make this go over top of all of their products. It's not just like, hey, I'm on a Facebook page, but I'm making, if I'm in a conversation in Messenger, I already see details about a customer. This now lets me keep track of all that as well. So that's the benefit here. And as a business, this is, very useful. It's one less thing you have to kind of keep track of.
Yes, that is nice. That is a nice feature. Keri, have you looked into this or used this yet?
I'm curious, Christian, if it integrates with those things, because I haven't used Messenger for things like that. I immediately take people to email and to my own payment systems because I just felt more comfortable with it. And I don't know that I necessarily want Facebook to have that part of what I do. So I'm curious.
So that's actually a really interesting point. So, where I'm currently located, like we have a lot of people here, they don't have websites. They transact through Facebook. So for instance, in their case, using this feature here would be fantastic. But in your case, you're pushing somebody to a website because, you have a separate payment system set up.
Right.
I don't think they're going to actually integrate at the moment. I would think that, this could be laying the groundwork for potential integrations at some point.
Maybe.
But we have a question from Mitch here, and it's a good one. He says, can you click and send outstanding accounts to say, send a message to outstanding accounts? He may be thinking about moving into collections as a lawyer rather than personal injury and catastrophic injury. So is there any, I know on Venmo you can send reminders such as there's an outstanding balance. Is that, do we not have any more detail about that, Christian? Is that happening?
You don't have that feature yet. Again, this could be one of those test features that Facebook always does.
Yeah.
But I think that they are going to be, right now you can't do that. But, I think that, getting into chatbots and all that sort of stuff, I think that they would potentially add that in the future.
Yeah, it seems like that might be where they're headed. I think I may have skipped a topic here. What do you have up next, Christian, on a topic? Do you have the hashtags for Instagram?
I also have Facebook sound collection, actually.
Yes, thank you. I closed a window. This is really cool. Can you post that link for everybody to see? I really like this idea.
Actually, let me go back to one thing real quick. So, Mitch,
sure.
Actually, I checked this earlier, and you could not send a request, but now actually when you click on the $, it gives you the ability to create a payment request.
Oh, okay.
So that should actually help you there.
That's updated pretty. That updated as of today. You didn't see that earlier today?
I didn't have it earlier, no.
Excellent. All right, that's cool. So our next item here, it's actually came out last week, and Christian, I didn't hear anything about this last week, and it surprises me. This is Facebook is introducing their sound collection. Sound is a key ingredient in videos. It can instantly change the mood, build suspense, or evoke emotion. So we've heard that you want an easier way to find sound effects and music to use in your videos, and that's why we're launching the Facebook Sound Collection. This is part of our broader commitment to providing video creators with various tools they need to grow on Facebook. The Sound Collection gives you access to thousands of high-quality audio tracks and sound effects from all over the world to spice up your videos. These sounds are owned by Facebook and are free and clear to use in any videos you create and share on Facebook and Instagram, which is nice, so you're not going to have any copyright or trademark issues using these. They say, we own them, you can use them, which is a really nice feature for people who are thinking about spicing up their videos. In the sound collection, you'll find tracks from established composers and songwriters and a range of sound effects. Discover a mix of songs, vocals, noises, and instrumental tracks spanning genres like hip-hop, pop, jazz, country, and more. The new tracks and effects will be added soon. and new tracks and effects will be added soon. This is, I think, a really great innovation. Certainly people will add, and Nicole mentions in the post that this is sounds like to her YouTube's audio library. And I'm not familiar. I don't use the YouTube audio library. She'd have to tell me if this is more like that. But the big thing is a lot of people want to add stuff to their videos, add something that really it makes the video more enjoyable to watch. Sounds and sound effects are certainly things that you can do to improve those. And I think this is a great step in a direction of improving Facebook video. Keri, what are your thoughts here?
Well, this just kind of pairs with everything that Facebook has been doing and building up to. I actually took a browse through the sound collection, and I just kept like scrolling down and clicking and scrolling down and clicking, and the files are nice. They're clear. They're easy to work with. Very, like, you can give attribution if you want and find out more about those specific artists. It's set up really nice. It's just really a smooth experience. And there's someone I know that wants to download all the sound files and put it in the Dropbox. I mean, it's just really nice. And I think that it just offers, it's like the resource. It makes Facebook the resource to go to for video. I think it's a really cool feature. I've done some video creation, and I think that this would just help everyone that does video, like, a lot.
Agreed. Christian, what are your thoughts? It seems that you have answered Nicole's comment that this is very much like the YouTube audio library. What are your thoughts on this innovation from Facebook?
So first off, I do want to mention to everybody, in order to use this, you do have to be part of their Facebook creators community that they've set up. But the great thing is that's free. That was announced a couple of weeks ago. That's for, basically people who are video creators, and that would essentially be everybody who's on Facebook. I'm not really sure why they make you sign up for it, but they should kind of include that.
They have a creator app now. I don't know if you downloaded it around, but
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like, I mean, if you're already creating video, maybe they could use an algorithm and say, you know what, anybody who's ever created a video on Facebook, give them access to this automatically. That way it's one less thing you have to sign up for. But overall, I mean, here's the kind of going back to what Nick said. If you want to use any sort of video in your videos, any sort of audio in the videos you're creating, you do have to pay for the music you use. And that can get very, very, very expensive. You can go to sites like premiumbeats.com, that sort of stuff. And, you can get the sounds, but they're expensive every single time. So by having a library, this is going to encourage people, I think, to create more videos and to make them, sound actually makes a video so much better. So,
we're thinking a business could really have fun with this, Christian, especially this being the holidays, if they made a little video around the office, added some holiday music, wishing you the best from our office, from all of us at Jackson and Wilson, or all of us at the hacking law practice, to you. Since we have so many of our lawyer friends in the crowd tonight, I think that those could be a really fun way to put together a nice, fun little video, add a little holiday music, and post that out on social.
The other thing I think that's really important here is, from a business perspective, if I am going to create a video, like I might, you have to know your resources of where you're getting your sound files. If you stick a video, for instance, up on YouTube and you happen to have gotten an audio track from somebody and they said, yeah, you can use this, and they didn't tell you where they got it from. Like, YouTube has a very sophisticated algorithm for analyzing the sound. So they will literally take your video down in seconds when you upload them and you're using a sound file you're not supposed to be using. And that can cause you a lot of headaches. You can actually get your account suspended. So on Facebook, by introducing this, Facebook's starting to put the groundwork out there for people that are creating videos, and they want to make it as easy as possible, because we all know video is going to be huge in 2018. I think by 2019, 2020, didn't they say like video is going to be just basically the majority of content that people publish?
Yeah.
So it's certainly something Facebook has been pushing. I forget what story we had about that a week or two ago, but it's certainly what Facebook wants to see as the predominant content on their platform.
Yeah, the key thing here, I think, is, go in here, play with it, test it out, create some videos. As Nick mentioned, create a holiday video, do something fun to kind of get you started, and then, branch into using this for your business. But also, I really hope that Facebook's going to update this. So once this gets rolled out, I hope that they're going to continue to add different sound effects and files and whatnot to this to let you, have more options to use. Because that's kind of the key thing. I mean, there's no sense in saying, "Hey, I got this sound collection" if there's only 20 sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So our next story is you can now. We've got a couple of Instagram stories here, and we'll end off with a Twitter story. You can now follow hashtags on Instagram. This came out a couple of days ago. Today, they were introducing the ability to follow hashtags, giving you new ways to discover photos, videos, and people on Instagram. Now it's even easier to stay connected with interests, hobbies, passions, and communities you care about. Every day, millions of people share photos and videos and tag them with relevant hashtags. They provide a few variety hashtags here. And to make these posts even more discoverable, they're introducing the hashtags you can follow, and you'll follow this just like you would following a friend. You search a topic you're interested in or tap on the hashtag from any post, and you'll see relevant hashtags displayed in your search results along with related accounts. You find one you like, open the hashtag page, and tap on the follow button. Then you'll start seeing the top posts from that hashtag feed in latest stories or in your feed, and some of the latest stories in your stories bar. And you can always unfollow a hashtag. I like the fact that they made it so that you could follow a hashtag as though you were just following somebody's profile. I thought that was a good idea. I have not tested this out yet, but I think this is something I will test out, because there are things that I'd like to follow on Instagram to see what people are doing creatively on Instagram, that I think this could be really beneficial. Keri, what are your thoughts on this?
I like it. I think, it was really hard to click that hashtag and go and look at who's posting. I did it all the time. But this makes it so much easier. It's like following a person. I'm going to find it really useful to keep track of AI. I want to get more into AI.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping track of artificial intelligence topics will be easier. That's not something that I was heavily into, but I think it'll be good.
Very cool. Very cool.
It keeps all of your like relevant topics kind of organized, I think, in a way that you couldn't do before.
And this is something that if you're in a particular business and there's a particular hashtag in that business that is regularly being posted about, just like on Twitter, and you want to follow along to see what, or as I do with my other show, I follow the hashtag Legal Tech on Twitter. I'm probably going to want to follow Legal Tech on Instagram as well to see what those in the legal tech field are doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like monitoring for hashtags. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kirsten. Take the floor.
Oh no, I want to say, I'm excited about this feature because, as Nick mentioned, this means I don't have to follow, for instance, every single account on Instagram just because they're using a specific hashtag.
Yeah.
If I, for instance, want to keep track of my own brand mentions, for instance, we use hashtag social chatter, I can go follow hashtag social chatter on Instagram without having to necessarily go follow an account if that's all they're talking about, for instance.
Right.
So in this case, it makes it easy for me to keep track of. It actually makes me easy to keep track of also who all is using the hashtag, going and following this hashtag. So, I think that's going to be very useful versus having to go follow a whole bunch of accounts just because somebody mentioned my brand. I think in that case, there's a lot more uses for the hashtag side of things. And it's super easy.
It could make a cleaner experience on Instagram. Because, you have this little app and there's so much going on there. And I think it'll take some of the clutter away, really.
I would actually like to see them. I was going to say, real quick, Nick, I want to say, I really would like to see the ability to, if I follow a hashtag, maybe let me scroll using the carousel post side of things. Because, people are used to the left or right side, when they see a carousel post, instead of having here's a whole bunch of posts that are using your hashtag. So I think that could be useful if I'm in the feed and I want to quickly, scan who's actually using that hashtag.
Yeah. And speaking of decluttering, our next story, so they say, this is a matter of decluttering. I can't stand this story. I'm going to say it from the very beginning here. This actually came out last week. Instagram, and this story is from The Verge. Instagram's testing a standalone app for private messages called Direct, a first step toward possibly removing messaging features from the core app. Direct, which opens to the camera in the same way Snapchat does, will become available on Android and iOS today in multiple countries. This is about 7 days ago, 1 week ago. If you install Direct, the inbox disappears from the Instagram app and can only be accessed in the messaging app. If Instagram introduces Direct globally, there's no timeline for them to do this. The move could give parent company Facebook a third popular messaging tool alongside Messenger and WhatsApp. I got to tell you, why do they need a third messaging tool is what I can't understand. And I don't need another app on my phone. One of you who may know more or use Instagram more than I do has got to clue me in as to why this is necessary. Keri, can you do that for me? Did I lose you, Keri?
No, I'm in the show now. I was in the lobby. When the screen share goes on, I go in the lobby.
Oh.
And then I get this really cool sound effect when I'm coming back into the show. It's really fun. So anyway, just for the extra feedback. I have to agree with you. I don't use Instagram to direct message. I mean, I see a use for a direct message, but that's not where my action is. Could it be? Sure. But I don't know that I need another app. Just like, remember when Facebook had the one app, and then they had Pages, and then there was this, and then there was that, and it was like, Facebook, I've got 6 apps on my phone, and you're hogging it all up. And it's like, I feel like that's where they're going with Instagram. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think they need it, but maybe someone would feel they do. I don't know. Maybe a younger generation.
Somebody they must have some need for it. And Nicole Abood, who I do DM with on Twitter regularly, she says she DMs a lot on Instagram, and she and I communicate regularly through Instagram's direct message. But I don't need another app for it, and that's the point that she makes. Yeah. I want everything available in one app. I in fact prefer to just open my laptop or work on the desktop at the office when I'm dealing with Facebook, because then I have Messenger and I have the news feed, and I'd rather have it available in one app. I don't need another app. Christian, what are your thoughts?
So here's the thing. I get why Facebook is doing this. They're doing this mainly because it's the same process they did with Messenger. They came out with Messenger. They then pushed everybody to a standalone app. I think part of it is an infrastructure thing. I think that, Instagram is, honestly, I actually think Facebook is or Instagram is a very it's not really a platform that they seem to spend a whole lot of time updating, if that makes a lot of sense. So, as their user base has grown, I think they need to change, improve the infrastructure. And one of those is to make it a separate app that helps them offload, I think, parts of that process, so the regular app doesn't become bloated and whatnot. So that's the first thing. But I also think this could be useful, at least for Facebook, from Facebook's perspective, is because at some point, what's going to happen. On Facebook, for instance, when you load Facebook right now, you get a messenger icon on the app. So therefore, if you have messages, and if you tap that, it pushes you over to the Messenger app to where you can have, that basically can have been built out a lot more. The third reason I think this is also happening is because direct messages get buried on the Instagram app. I mean, do you swipe left? Do you swipe right? How do you get to your direct messages? And I think it's like right to left, actually, to get to direct messages. So I think they kind of are buried. And so by putting them here, this is actually going to drive people to use it more, I would think. And from a business perspective, I think, as I think I said earlier, 2018, I think Instagram is going to be huge. We're going to see a big shift, I think, away from Facebook. And this is where I think that, by having all of this, it conditions a business to start to use these platforms, in a seamless manner.
Yeah, interesting. We have a lot of comments on this, on these topics here. We should probably bring a couple of them in here. AJ Richmond, he likes the Messenger app and because it's separate and acts like text messages, and it's so good that he doesn't have to log into the original Facebook app when he's on iPhone. I tend to agree. I prefer to just keep it open on my desktop when necessary. But if you're on the move, and he's on the move a lot more than I am, I'm much more stationary in my work that I can do that. If I were on the move, I probably would be using Messenger even more. Nicole says she's already thinking about going back to her podcast. This goes back to the hashtags for Instagram. She's already thinking about going back to her previous promo icons for her podcast and hashtagging them with the same hashtag. And I think that,
by the way,
Ned says that she doesn't like the idea of having another app as well. So
I think, going back to Nicole's point, actually, I think that's actually a really good idea. If you're going to share things here's the other thing you can kind of think of with Instagram. If you're going to be using the hashtag feature, like you're creating stories, for instance, put your hashtag in your stories, put it in different places with the content you're sharing, because it is clickable. People can then jump to the hashtag and see, more about the conversation. It also, I think, is going to open up the explore feature for hashtags to get your hashtag featured in there as well if you're using some really good ones. Or maybe you've used a generic hashtag and you've used your regular one, you put them together, you now get some additional, I think you get some additional exposure with that. But yeah, I think the Instagram direct side of things, I think they're really mainly doing that just to get the infrastructure in place. I know that. I guess
I'm gonna rely on your expertise here, because otherwise I've got app fatigue, and I don't.
There are too many messaging apps, and AJ, by the way, makes a great point. Why can't we have one app that has all the text messages? Because, for example, you can see Facebook messages and Instagram and and page messages inside of the your unified inbox.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have Snapchat. They don't have Snapchat, at least in there. So
and I can tell you that I've done this, Christian. You and I have done it. I know I've done it with Nicole and with Mo and Mitch. That we're communicating in one platform at one time, see something happening on another platform when we're in there, message each other on that one. And it's like, I don't need another one to follow. And then I've had Christian, you and I have had multiple conversations going, or sometimes the same conversation going on iMessage, as well as Facebook Messenger. Yeah. And enough is enough is my feeling on this one, but I'll probably be using it next week. So ask me then.
And I want to jump back to, Christian said some words that intrigued me. He said that we'll be shifting away from Facebook in 2018. And I want to know more about that. Why do you feel that way? And what do we do with that?
I think that, with Instagram is, a place where you have to be very selective about what you post. You don't have a desktop interface with ads, for instance, being thrown at you, notifications popping up on screen, messages popping up, so mobile has that, it's very focused. And so you have very limited real estate to distract you, I think. And so that's kind of why I think the shift is going to be towards that. You have to be very selective about what you share, what you curate, and put up there. Yes, you can do that on Facebook, but I think everybody trends towards, I can just share anything. And so with Instagram, you don't really see a whole lot of that. It's the focus on the visual side of things. So that's why I think the trend is going to be that direction. And of course, I actually wrote a piece, and this, Nick, actually, you and I talked about this yesterday, but I wrote a piece recently on why I think, Snapchat is actually going to keep Instagram at bay. A lot of the features that Snapchat is introducing, Instagram, Facebook, they're copying a lot of these features, and they have to be copying them for a reason. It's not just like, hey, we want to keep up with Snapchat. It could be, I think it's because Snapchat is doing a lot of things right that Instagram and Facebook really kind of need to have those features. It's not just, hey, I want to get the younger demographic in there. They're doing some cool stuff over at Snapchat. And I think that, that's why you're starting to see a lot of these features, that are Snapchat-esque get rolled into, say, Instagram, and then trickle down to Facebook.
Christian, so we need to, we're running out of time here. We don't want to keep people.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to speed this one up so you can get to the tools. This is the new thing from Twitter. Their blog came out 2 days ago. It's essentially allowing you to do a tweet storm. They called it. They say that they're listening to their users. A few years ago, they noticed that the people were creatively stitching tweets together to share more information or tell a longer story. They saw this approach, which they call threading. Many of us have always known it as like a tweet storm or something similar to a tweet storm, or we've used those interchangeably. So it's sort of a way to do a train of thought. So they have created a way for you to do that. This method of tweeting, while effective and popular, can be tricky for some to create, and it's often tough to read or discover all the tweets in a thread. It can also be exhausting. I will say that, and I'm a huge fan of Twitter, but the tweet storm or the threading is not necessarily my favorite tool or usage of it. So they came up with a tool that would make this more popular and easier for you to express multiple thoughts. So you could add a tweet. There's a little plus sign now when you're in your tweet editor, and you can draft something, click add tweet, and it will tie each one of these together. I think this would have been a really innovative tool had they remained at 140 characters, but this could really become a very messy way for a person to follow Twitter. What are your thoughts on this, Keri?
Okay, I have to tell you, first of all, I used to be a big user of the app Storify, and I would make tweet stories on tweet chats or conversations that I had had, and then I would keep them in blog posts, or I'd lead someone to a tweet story that I had curated. Okay, so now what this is doing is allowing you to curate your own tweets into one little panel. And I agree with you. I'm not loving this 280 character thing. I think that Twitter was made for 140, and there's a reason why Twitter became Twitter, because of the 140. However, I think that the ability, and I was really like, why do we need to do this? But I had been following, I'm going to say it, a political conversation, and I found it very helpful that this tweeter just made 35, 36 tweets, and I could understand the facts of the story like that. Now, I'm so rarely in Twitter itself. I'm not usually in Sprout Social or Hootsuite or some other tool, that I can't think I would use this a whole lot, but I could see a business where they wanted to convey points, could make a thread or a tweet storm and maybe pin that whole thread to the top of their Twitter profile. Talk with my hands. But I would think that would be helpful if there was a certain set of concepts or phrases that you're using a lot. That could be helpful there. But I can't think of this as an everyday thing on Twitter.
It would certainly. I feel like you would lose followers and friends if you were doing long threads on a daily basis. Yeah. Christian, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that's helpful that he put the video thing up there. That was helpful.
Yes, although we do lose him temporarily when he does.
You do. By the way, that's why the screen share didn't work to begin with. But I will say, okay, so I think this is a couple of years behind. There's applications that are already out that are doing this same thing, to make it easy to share 10 tweets. Now you have to click a plus button. Previously, people were coming up with creative ways, but I think there are some benefits to this. Some of the benefits here are, as Keri mentioned, Storify. Storify was a fantastic platform for curating things that you're doing. For instance, especially if you're at an event or a conference, and you want to tweet a lot, or you want to live tweet, perfect for that sort of stuff. So this works on desktop, by the way. I was testing that while I was off camera here, but it works on desktop. It works on mobile. Very simple. You tap the plus button, to add to a tweet. But I think the other part of the value here is that this is a way for you to be able to curate different types of content. So if you look at if you saw the screen that I was sharing earlier, you don't just start a tweet and just, let me just type out a whole bunch of text tweets, but you can actually add live video, you can add photos, you can add additional videos as well. You can add polls, you can add animated GIFs, you can share your location. So if you think of it from a storytelling aspect, it could be very useful to have like one particular tweet that essentially becomes your story that you're tweeting on. And also to mention here, when you do use this whole like Twitter Threads feature, it does add a see more or a show more link option in the Twitter stream, so that way people know that there's more there to click on or tap on instead of having them have to tap into every tweet. So
that's a nice feature of that.
I think the key thing here from a business perspective is it's going to help you curate different types of content. I could, for instance, be tweeting, getting ready to go live, getting ready to go on stage, for instance, at a conference. That's the first thing. Second thing could be, I might want to use Periscope, for instance, and incorporate that into the Twitter thread. And then maybe while I'm doing a presentation, I could easily throw up a poll really quickly. But as Keri mentioned, it is going to be hard to get users away from those third-party platforms they're using. For instance, I use Tweetbot for all my tweets, but I also use Buffer and I use Hootsuite. I don't necessarily spend it. I don't spend any time in the Twitter mobile app.
And I'm in the app on a regular basis.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I changed my profile photo or my cover image, and then I'm gone.
I'm in it regularly. I really enjoy the interface, but I know that I'm a little strange that way. Christian, I think we've got time for one tool tonight, and the other is going to have to wait for the blog post.
Yeah, sure. So I did want to mention, by the way, one of those tools is direct from Instagram, and that's actually the app. It mentioned it was coming out a week ago, and it actually, I've been testing this all week. It literally just went out yesterday. Okay. So that link should work for everybody, but we'll put that one in the blog post recap for everybody to check out. But the tool I want to talk about today is Tailwind. Keri, I think are you familiar with Tailwind? I think you are, right?
I know of it, but I've not been a user. I've used other tools instead. Okay,
so Tailwind is the app that I want to share with everybody real quickly here. So I'm going to take everybody off camera, and then I'll bring you guys back on. But Tailwind, very, very, very useful app. It's for Pinterest and Instagram. It's a very unique app. Instead of being, like an all-in-one app, it does two things very well. And that's Pinterest and that's Instagram. And it lets you do a lot of really great things. It lets you schedule your posts. So you have a scheduler, but you also have the ability to discover some content. You can use it to monitor your conversations. So, if you're not following hashtags, for instance, on Instagram, you can, throw in some channels and whatnot you want to follow into Tailwind. But it's also very useful for Pinterest. You can schedule your Pinterest pins out. It has some features where you can you don't just schedule them out at a predetermined time where you pick the time, but you can have them pick the time. You can also, they do a very nice job also with notifying you how well your channels are performing. So this is Tailwind, by the way, and it's available as a free app. And it's essentially a smart scheduler for, mainly Pinterest and Instagram. Great tool for small businesses. But from a pricing perspective, there's, you could try it out. There's a free trial. It's limited to the number of pins you can, or the number of pieces of content you can share. I think it's 100 pieces. And then they push you to their plus plan. It's like $10 a month, up to some very expensive plans, such as the professional version. So that's Tailwind for everybody this week. Let me bring everybody on, and then we'll go from there and see, has anybody used this and whatnot. So Nick, I'm bringing you on.
All right.
So Nick should be live.
I'm back.
You used this at all, Nick?
I have not used it, but I know some people in the audience tonight who would probably find this helpful. Nicole, I'm thinking, is one who's heavy into Instagram use. Danica is also here and would probably be interested in using something like this. Those are a couple of people that I can think of. My Instagram use is much more playful than it is business related. Keri,
Keri, how about yours?
So I had been contacted by a competitor they contacted me as an influencer. I felt really lucky, and so I had been using their app for Pinterest. I like to do Instagram native because I just feel like it's just better. So anyway, I would use it for Pinterest. Now I will tell you, I've since stopped using it, and I know that Tailwind is quite a slick and sweet app, and a lot of people use it and love it. I'm trying Pinterest native for just a little while to see what I like, what I don't like, and when I'm looking for a tool then coming up, where am I going to go? So I'm happy to know more about it again and be refreshed.
Excellent. And let's wrap up. Keri, please tell us how people can get in touch with you. I want to post that in Facebook for people to follow along if they wish to.
Absolutely.
How do they find you?
First of all, I have not commented on anything, so I'm going to follow up and I'll comment in the replay thing, okay? Just because I feel like I've ignored everyone. But, probably I have a really confusing last name, so probably tweet me at Idea Girl Media, or on Facebook. Once I comment, you can find me there. And then also, if you're really excited about Facebook groups, I have Idea Caffeinators, and that is it's a free group to talk about things that you want to caffeinate in your business. Christian, you're actually a member there. I let it go for a while, and now I'm trying to revive it and get people talking about things. We're not necessarily about the social media tips, so we'll talk about that. But I want people to ask questions of each other and really grow in their business and caffeinate it. So I will put the link in the Facebook, but it's Facebook/group/Idea Caffeinators, I think, or Idea Caff is what it is, and they can go there. But yeah, excellent. So I'll comment in the chat. But I appreciate the opportunity at Idea Girl Media.
Yes, thank you very much for being our guest tonight, Keri.
Thanks,
Christian. Thanks for episode 117. And
yes,
it's almost the new year, so I feel like it's your responsibility. We've talked about this for a long time, how many episodes I have been involved. I feel like with the new year coming, you need to figure that out for us. So was it 46 or 52 where I took over? You're going to have to go back a ways.
I think you need a prize, Nick.
Yeah.
Guess how many shows Nick has been on?
Yeah, we have just been spitballing. We never really paid attention to which one I started on. So, everybody, thank you for being here tonight. It's been a great show. Thank you for all your comments and interactions. We appreciate the attendance, and we'll see you next week. And
we'll be back 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Amanda Robinson on next week. She's at She Wakeboards. Yeah, that's her Twitter handle. So, Keri, thanks so much for being on this week. We loved having you. Keri's going to go back and drop some links and respond to your comments and whatnot. So, thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good to see you again.
Bye, everybody.
You too.